What if the parts of you that learn to shrink, overgive, or disappear were never broken, but trying to keep you safe? In today's episode, we're exploring the quiet, often invisible cycle of self-abandonment that so many women live inside, long after the original threat is gone. The patterns that look like being nice, strong, selfless, but feel like disconnection, exhaustion, and loss of self. Today I'm joined by Rocio and Angel, co-authors of The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses, a transformational novel that uses storytelling as a pathway back to truth, embodiment, and inner authority. Together we unpack how awareness, gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance, and intention are not just spiritual concepts, but lived practices that help women come home to themselves. We talk about why storytelling bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the nervous system, and how women can begin to heal self-abandonment without forcing change or performing healing correctly. If you've ever felt disconnected from your intuition, your voice, or your sense of self, this conversation is an invitation to soften, listen, and remember who you were before the world asked you to disappear. Now let's dive in. Have you ever noticed your skin reflects your stress? I used to struggle with mine, dry, dull, reactive, until I started pairing nervous system regulation with products that actually honor your body. That's why I love Milk and Butterflies. They handcraft every formula with 100% organic ingredients and powerful aromatherapy oils. They aren't just products for your skin, they're rituals that restore hydration, resilience, and calm even in the busiest seasons of our life. You can try them for yourself and feel the difference. Head to Milk and Butterflies and use my promo code Dr. Kelly for free shipping. That's DRKELLY for free shipping. Also, check out the link in the description for the podcast. All right, welcome back to another episode of Rewiring Health. I am so incredibly honored to be joined by Rocio and Angel on the podcast today. So thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. Thanks for the space.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's gonna be so many things we want to dive into today, but the first I want to start with is your book, because I was just saying I've just finished reading it and it was incredible. There are so many things that stuck out to me, and one thing that I saw as you presented the characters in your book is that I see myself in pretty much every one of those characters. Like I see all the versions of me in them as I was going through the book. And that's what I absolutely love about it, that you can see the past version of yourself where you were self-abandoning, where you were putting yourself behind, and you had absolutely no awareness that you were living your life like that. And that's where I want to start. What was your inspiration for writing the book? Was it personal experience? Was it something that you've both experienced in your lives?
Yes, definitely. At one point, I wish I have this book in my darkest moment. So after really, this happened 30 years ago. Really, my mom died when I was in 92. So I was 20, and really all the journey that took me to really find myself, I was until I was 50. Before that, I really put one step, like I was really living, being successful, and pretended that everything was okay. But I was really lost. Lost because society told me what to do, how to do it, and how I'm gonna feel really happy. And at one point, you achieve everything that society tells you, but you lose yourself in the process. So at one point, when I was really sad at one point, and I tell Angel, I need to understand how you forgive, because I continue to carry so much. And at one point, I was asking everyone, how do you forgive? How you forgive? And people they cannot tell you A, B, C, D. So finally, after I experienced forgiveness, transformation, I go to Angel and say, we need to do a TV show to really put all this information that I'm experienced, that I'm feeling free, for more people to see it and to really enjoy it. And
And the beauty of it, Kelly, is that it was happening concurrently for me as well. We we had a privileged life. We met in Mexico, lived in Miami, where our two daughters were born for 7 years, moved to Hong Kong, where we lived 6 years, moved to London 4 years, and then to Los Angeles. And I was able to let go of many things. I had, Rocio calls me, and we've met many people, Teflon skin, because just nothing bothered me. And she would say, "How could that not bother you that they did to you?" It's like, doesn't matter. That's not who I am. It doesn't, but I didn't have the words to explain it. I didn't have the vocabulary really to explain why I was the way I was. So when she was looking for forgiveness, and it's because we invested all of our savings and then lost them in a probably poorly managed project, is what we think. But ultimately, she would ask me, "How did you let it go?" And I'm like, "I don't know, just let it go." Thinking that the way I was, which is what happens to many of us, is the way you are and the way she is, right? And we're all so different. And so when she comes to me and says, "I'm going to enroll in a number of courses, I am going to pursue a master's in spiritual psychology, and I'd love for you to come along with me on the journey because I was told that if I grow and you don't, we'll split. We'll just go in different directions." And it was coinciding with the end of my corporate career. And somehow, again, that wisdom kind of kicked in and said, "Oh, interesting. A door is closing and another one is opening. I'm going to go through it." So when we go through that, we become witnesses of each other's growth at a rate and at a depth that there were no words to explain what we were experiencing. And that was the energy that we were in as all of this is happening. But then we see our daughters change, Kelly. We see people around us say, "Your house feels different. We really want to hang out there because it's not like the other houses." And so we become really aware of energy and the energy that we carried within and without. And it just
how to
starts,
transform.
and yeah, and it just starts changing us in a way in which we never saw it coming.
Yeah, so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing your story because what you're speaking, it so resonates with me because like my husband and I have a very similar dynamic. He can just let things go and he's like, "Just don't worry about it." And I'm like, "It's not that simple, you know? It's not that simple. I can't just let it go because I'm ruminating on it every single day." And so I so can relate to that. And that ability to go in and see that transformation of how do you forgive, because I think in society it's almost like, oh, you need to forgive, you just need to forgive, and it's so downplayed, like how like the complexity of that and how what goes into that, that I so appreciate that you recognized how to do that and started looking at your own journey and then share that with others so that you can realize like you can get to a point of forgiveness, but it's not as simple as like overnight switch that you're just gonna kind of let things go. So it's so profound. And you can very much see it in the book too. The what you've shared in it. I'm just like, oh, okay, thank you for recognizing both aspects of it, that the beauty of the forgiveness, but also the challenge of when you're in a place that you're not forgiving, because so many of us can be stuck in that place and being like, I know I need to let it go, but how? And that's the power of it. So I so appreciate you sharing that.
It was her curiosity, really, and her
Yeah.
insistence, because she said, "No, Angel, I need to learn the one, two, three, and the ABC of forgiveness." And she's always been like that. But in this particular point in our lives, it was exactly what we needed to go down a path of
Yeah.
understanding, of learning, and transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because because when you ask people, really, how do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Only the experts can explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point becomes a personal experience. Really, how you can let go a thought that is connected to an emotion who creates a reaction in your body.
Yeah.
So, in the moment that you begin to see it like a mechanic thing that is doing your body, in that moment, you can really, it's like, okay, you can apply love because that's the medicine.
Yeah.
But if they don't tell you, you continue to, but how? So the way to release the energy, that's why in the novel we put so many exercise because not everyone has the time to go to a master, read 200 books, and really to begin to understand how important is to know yourself.
Absolutely.
And in the moment you know yourself, you begin to see, okay, right now I'm saying all this. So I scan my body to understand if I have insecurity or shame or any guilt. And that make you aware. And when you are aware, you begin to change it. So if more people begin to understand themselves, they're gonna relate different with the world. And that is the most important part that we are trying to convey in the novel. For people to go inside, this is a beautiful story of love and conquer ourselves.
Yeah,
I don't know. Tell us your experience.
yeah. Yeah, and that's what like that I can really see that. And what I love too is the how you share the acceptance of like accepting all parts, that we're not trying to push away the, the things that we perceive as bad or society perceives as bad, that like all parts are allowed to be there. And instead of trying to push it away, you approach it with compassion and allow it to be there and approach it with curiosity. And that's what I love that you share in this book. And the forgiveness, I think one thing that is so misunderstood that you do a great job of in the book is that a lot of times people think forgive and forget are the same things. Like condone behaviors, just move on, just, get along with people that maybe have harmed you. But it's not about that. It's about your own inner journey and releasing yourself from the resentment, releasing yourself from the emotions that you're carrying, the anger and everything. And that's what I really appreciate what you share about forgiveness too, because I think that's commonly misunderstood, that people are like, oh, just forgive, as if you're condoning other people's behaviors. But forgiveness is an inner journey. It's for you, not for anyone else, or to release anybody from their responsibilities. So I love that, how you shared that in the book.
It was the moment that we understood that. And the beauty of it all, Kelly, is that when I say understood, is we experienced it. That was the understanding that was happening in us, is we knew not here in our stomach and in our hearts. And so when that happened, we got this clarity of these concepts. And then it was, how do we transmit this so that other people understand it simply? Because we read many books, we've been with many teachers, healers, people who have understood, but sometimes have a difficulty of making it simple for the person in front of them to really. And so when we were writing the book, we're like, we need to make sure that anyone, doesn't matter whether there is very little education or a lot of education, that everyone can understand it because it's simple to read and simple to follow.
Yeah.
And so that's how we began. That was the intention. But a lot of it came from the experience that we were having. The moment I understood that forgiveness was something I did for myself,
Yeah.
it changed everything.
Mhm.
Right? Because normally, and now we understand this very clearly as well, normally people tell us, to your point, forgive it. You put it in the back of your mind,
Mhm.
bury it,
Yeah.
put it in the dark room, don't open the door, lock it,
Right.
put
Yeah.
5 locks in there, and don't worry.
Right.
And these experiences have a way of sneaking out of wherever they're locked up on
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
and showing up right in front of you in everything you do, every thought, every interaction, every relationship. And it's not until you address them head on. But we've been told, oh, it's so difficult, it's so painful, don't do it.
Yeah.
Until you address them head on, and you can, and you have the energy and the wisdom and everything within you to do it,
Mhm.
we don't put them in their right place, which is to soften them with love.
Right. You're absolutely right. And what you resist persists. And it's gonna, like you said, it's like trying to shove a ball under the water. It's gonna
Yeah.
come up harder every time
Right.
if you do
Right.
resist that. So yeah, I think like you did a fantastic job of like making something that often is thought of as complex and really giving that simplification of it. Like there is a way to do this without feeling you have to overhaul your entire life. And I'm curious about the characters because as you introduce the characters, like I feel like that you got so many like nuances and like the relationship dynamics and everything. Like I feel like they're real people. Like were they based off of real people or did you come up with them? Like what was the formation of the characters? I want to take a brief moment to pause from the episode to share something that I've noticed so many women struggle with, and maybe this resonates with you, that you do not feel safe to honor your own needs. You might be the one who learned how to be easy, capable, and reliable, and yet you're tired of overriding yourself. You're tired of explaining your no, you're tired of feeling guilty for wanting space, and tired of shrinking your truth to keep the peace. The thing that most people don't realize is that you can't actually protect your peace without a sense of inner safety. And without that safety, boundaries feel harsh, guilt feels unavoidable, and self respect feels like something you're constantly working at instead of resting into. If you have that quiet, steady craving for self respect, the kind that lives in your body, Self Respect Reset was created for you. It's a guided, body-based experience designed to help you rebuild inner safety, trust yourself again, and honor your needs without guilt, explanation, or self-abandonment. If this speaks to you, you can find the link to join in the show notes. Now back to the episode.
It was at the beginning, we want to do one story, my transformation. But at one point, I was afraid and I was not ready. It's like, no, no, no. And at one point, somebody say, no one is going to believe all the things that happened to you. And it's like, you are right. So at one point, we decide to do 5 characters. So we begin to see the real is we took classes, lessons with a professional teacher of drama for us to go inside of each character to really begin to speak with them and to talk like them. So at one point we decide that we need to tell different stories that are very important to us, because the story of Jennifer is the story of our moms, single mothers, who they have so much challenge, and at one point really is very difficult because society is not kind to a single mother. So at one point, what we want to convey in the book is you are amazing. You are doing the best you can. We need to be and more understanding of their situation. What else?
Well, there is also every single one of them is us, right?
Yeah.
And others, because the truth is, as you read, every experience there is a human experience, many of which are repeated again and again in the millions,
Yeah.
right? So you have Sophia, who's very angry with the world. Rocio was at first going to be that Sophia because she grew up in, as she mentioned, her mom passed away and she had to fight for every single day of her life thereafter in order to make it. That makes you angry because the world tends to be not very fair and less so with women, right? In this society. And so that was Sophia. Then you have Olivia, top of the world, just came out of her speech at the United Nations, right? And she only sees the glass half full,
Empty.
right? Half empty. And and so we've all been there in our success of our careers, and as Rocio mentioned earlier as well, not enough. What is this all there is?
Right.
Then you have, oh my gosh, Stephanie, ex-model, sexually abused, hasn't been able, and at that moment, this is it's emblematic of both of our lives. I was sexually abused as a child, she was as an adult, but also it was the Weinstein and everything that was going on, and also in the modeling industry. And we're like, this is so prevalent. And
To
one day,
women and men.
to women and men, but one day we were with a group of women in a circle, and Rocio asked the question, how many have been sexually abused in some way, shape, or form? And it was a shock to me when every single hand was up.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd always thought that it was an issue, but
Yeah.
not to the extent that I've observed that and now know. And later I learned that, it's like 9 out of 10 women, probably 10 out of 10, and also 6 out of 10 men experience this in some way. And so we
And,
wanted that to be represented.
and it's very symbolic too, because at one point, probably you don't have a sexual abuse, but you have an abuse.
Yeah.
And those abuses is something that is really common. Or when you have a mask and you cannot tell a secret to more people, that secret is weighing on you. So all these things with each character make us more human and more understanding. So the book is, say, The Orchid, the secret code of modern goddesses. Of course, the sound of the title can be for women, but really, what I've been telling men is in the moment that you read a book like this, you understand better women and you became their, ¿cómo se dice?
Their supporter, their ally.
Or the ally.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you understand that society needs bridges. One to ourselves, that is the most important, and then to another people to understand that, wow, they they cannot do it differently. They don't know.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. It's so powerful because it's like you can only approach life from through the lens that you have and through your level of consciousness. And that's truly where you're going to be. And it's everyone's at different levels. So it's like you trying to get people to understand your journey is going to be really challenging. But also we all go through very similar challenges in that the story may look different, but the root of these things of like, I'm not enough. I have to make sure everybody else is okay. Their peace matters more than my peace. If I just work harder, I'll finally prove my worth. Like these are so many themes that we do see throughout our lives. And what I love in excuse me in the book is that you not only share the dialogue between the characters, but I love the inner dialogue because that's what we don't see in society. We see the front, the smiling face, we see the job, the money, the car, the friendships that we think people have, the social media. We see all that, but we don't see the internal dialogue of what's the cost to keep all that going. What's the cost of keeping the family going? What's the cost of keeping the job going? And this really like takes down that veil that we see and we get to go inward and see like, okay, like this is what I'm feeling. This is like, behind closed doors, those tears people don't see to keep this going. That's what the experience is. And it's almost like relieving when you see like, okay, other people are going through this of like, there's not something wrong with me. We're all going through these battles. Just some of us have a better ability to hide it and shroud it than others, but we're all going through things.
Yes.
And I just love how you showcase that and the power of that we're all just, spiritual beings having human experience. And it is hard. It is challenging. And we're trying to do the best we can with what we have. Yeah.
The moment you
Yes.
understand that and you experience that, the day I had learned that concept early in the masters we were doing, but it wasn't until the end of the course that I heard that again, and we were doing a meditation with it. And all I did, Kelly, was weep and weep when I understood that at its core, I am a spiritual being having human experiences. And then it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it changes. And so that's what we were trying to convey in the book. We were trying to convey exactly what you described and do so in the most simpler of ways. And it was really interesting because something that I think helped us tremendously was the fact that we were experiencing it together.
Yeah.
And there's something magical that happens when one reaches equilibrium in everything, right? Whatever that is, a motor, a body, a conversation. And when it happens in between the masculine and the feminine, I think that it's one of the rules of life. Those two are supposed to be in a complete and eternal dance with each other
Harmony.
in harmony.
Right.
And so it helped and tremendously to experience the things we were experiencing and have each other and our perspectives, because I was able to provide somewhat of a solid, safe place. And sometimes it was like this in the privacy of our us two in one room, in which all I did was being silent while she was crying and weeping and saying, I feel the pain here and it moves
In my throat.
and it's in my body. And all I could do was observe and be love so that she could experience herself and not say, I don't want to do this, but feel supported in order to do it.
Yeah, the power of holding space for someone to go through their
Yes.
experiences instead of trying to fix it for them.
Yes.
Profound. And that's like the beauty of this. I know it's like it seems like it's directed towards women, but just like you said, that when men understand the experience of more of that feminine energy, like that is also something to embrace. You know, men can have men and women both have feminine and masculine energy, and it's like the having that balance. But I think we see so much in society, it's just masculine energy in women and men. And it's just like do more, produce more, go harder, spend more time doing things versus like, okay, how do we slow down? How would you receive? How do we go inward? And that's just, it's so profound what you said, just your dynamic of being able to hold space for someone just to go inward, because you can't fix anyone. All you can do is just allow them to process that themselves. And when you have a safe space to do that, what a gift to give to someone to be like, I'm just going to allow you to feel what you need to feel in a safe environment. That's profound. Absolutely profound.
I was just going to say one thing. That's the Orchid. The
Yeah.
Orchid is a retreat center where these women end up at.
Yeah.
But what they find is a safe, non-judgmental place that basically where there's really well equipped and prepared women, people, ready to provide a space for that person to go into the dark corners of their bodies and souls and minds and say, I really need to deal with that. And they will say, yes, you do. And we're here to support you as you do. You're not alone. And that's why they're able to do so, because they feel supported. They realize everything you've said, everything we've said here, that they're not alone, that everybody's doing the best they can, but that ultimately you have to address it. And the only person that can do it is you.
Yeah. The whole time I'm reading that, I'm like, where can I find a Mary for my life? I'm like, Mary's just like, oh my gosh, just like what a beautiful soul. And then I love how you show the orchid, like the whole environment. And then I saw that on your website, the AI version of that. And I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, where can I go to this place? Because it just sounds so amazing. I think every single one of us could use that in our life. Like every single one of us. Like that should almost be like a yearly retreat. Like you got to go here so that you can rise up to be better for everybody in your life. It's so incredibly powerful.
I think that we need to do a orchid in every city.
Yes.
And that's why we want to put it in a story for people to do it in their own house, because this is key. When you begin to see that places like this can exist, you begin to use your imagination.
Yeah.
And in your imagination, you are creating your future. So that's why we put different stories at the end for them to get inspired and to see, okay, you know what? I'm going to begin to see myself in with different lens, and I'm going to create all these things. And that's why, even though if you go to a retreat, you don't have the opportunity to really see what the people are thinking. And the good part of the book is that you are going and see the inner thoughts to understand that everyone in the world is having this feeling that I'm not enough at one point or another one. And in the moment that you begin to recognize that, you see that you can create another life for you. So for any person who is listening or is watching this, here the most important is you. And really to understand that it's not late for really become at peace with you, with your story, where you are and what you can create. Because in the moment that you understand the rules of the game, like I say, the orchid became like a guide for you to really go read it. And it's like, okay, so I have these limiting beliefs today.
Yeah.
Probably tomorrow you have another one that you want to remove. So is at the end, the beauty of this book is you became your own Mary.
Yeah.
Because you became, no one is going to know better what is the best for you than you.
Yeah.
And little by little, you enrich your life with the things, the people, and the experience that you want to live. And we don't have the same, I don't want what you want. And no one wants what I want. In that moment, when we understand that, is, okay, society creates an illusion of scarcity. But no, we have infinite possibilities because everyone wants different things. So when you begin to understand this and seeing this, you begin to share or support another way of thinking, another way of being, because that's the beauty of who we are.
Yeah, it's profound, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Like as you're talking, that it really comes out to me is it's Albert Einstein. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it, and it's that. It's like once you start to see things differently, now you can go back and really give yourself that healing. But if you just keep going at it from the same approach, you never allow yourself to expand and be exposed to something different. You don't know what's possible for you. You don't know that the world can literally be seen and experienced through a whole new lens. And it's that's the intentions and I forget what you call them at the end, where they wrote out everything that would happen in their life. It's
Ideally seen,
Yeah, the ideal
the
scenes or
is the
life script.
life
Life script,
script.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just reading those and I like love what you shared that it's like just reading those and even though it's somebody else's dream, it's just like, oh wow, that could be possible. Like what would my life scripts be like? And then you I love how you give the pages of like writing that out yourself and really just getting that so clear because it's like you're reading those and I had to be like, oh, did that happen for them yet? Like, and I know it didn't, but it was so
Right.
concrete and you're like, wow, like you almost got that feeling of like, oh, I'm so happy for her, that all worked out and everything was okay. And it's like, okay, that could be the same for my life too. And it's really empowering because it's that you're seeing it through someone else's eyes and it almost takes away that like almost like that, and I don't want to use threat, but almost feels like that it allows you to do the introspection without actually like diving in full out because sometimes your system can reject that when you're trying to change too much but this is like that subtle baby stepping it into like okay how can my
Yeah.
life feel different. Yeah.
It's interesting for everyone who's listening, for your audience. When these five women go to the Orchid, they experience five lessons and three stages, essentially. The five lessons are awareness, gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance, and intention. And they divide themselves in three stages. The first stage is observe yourself. Try to, and there's so much studies now that show that the moment that something is observed, it changes. That's just the nature of energy, right? And so when you look at yourself and you kind of stand on a stage and you leave that person there, but part of you steps down and starts looking at it. You're like, oh, wow, that's interesting that Angel reacts the way he does to those situations, or that he uses those words, or look how nervous he is, or whatever. He gets angry when that happens. Then the next question is, why? Are you expanding or contracting? And if you're expanding, by all means, continue doing that because it's good for you. But if you're contracting, if it's limiting you, then ask yourself, do you want to change it? Because it's probably based on something that it no longer serves you.
Right.
And then if you want to change it, you move on to the next stage, which is gratitude, forgiveness, and acceptance, which on our everyday lives, we've allowed to become so superficial, but really they are profound forces of change when you dive into them and you experience them fully, when you truly live in gratitude. Not that I say thank you every day and I'm grateful, but I live in gratitude and I try to experience it with every cell in my body. Something happens inside of you that transforms you. And so those three things change you, but also they return energy back to you because you're giving it away. It's like a pail of water which has holes everywhere. When with gratitude, forgiveness, and acceptance, you start filling those gaps. And all of a sudden, that energy, that water that was there, is yours to be used in whatever way, shape, or form you want. And that's where the intention comes in. And that's all of a sudden you're like, I have more energy because I'm no longer worried about what happened 5 minutes ago or 50 years ago.
Right.
And now I have more energy to live the life I want to live here and now today.
Absolutely. And I feel like you showcased that so well with Nicole because she was so worried about what her family would think and trying to please them and worrying about them. She was investing all her energy outside herself just with that dynamic. And I think it may not be family relationships, but I think every one of us has been in a situation where we have had a relationship and we're just worried about making sure they're okay and don't even see how much we're eroding our own essence in doing
And
that.
I mean, it's true on both sexes today, when especially I'm going to talk about men first, but
Yeah.
I have to work, I have to feed my family, I have to do this, I have to do that. There's such a pressure that society has put on men to do that. And then there's women. Basically, give yourself up entirely and serve other masters, your children, your home, your husband, your this, your that. And it's not how it's meant to be. We're meant to be equals in
In
sharing in
community.
community, sharing with each other, sharing responsibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. And the that's why it's like having that ability to relate and understand, like we always see like the surfacey interactions of people like you did this, but like what's going on beneath the surface? And you share, what men are experiencing, like I feel this pressure that I need to do this. And then women are like, well, I feel this pressure, I need to do this. It's like if we can just excavate and go a little bit deeper, like there's something deeper going on there. And that's that beauty of I love how you shared that you went on this journey together and you could go deeper and understand each other and grow together. And I think if more people would understand like the beauty and you don't have to be perfect, but being willing to progress and grow and be self-aware, how much relationships of all kinds would be so much better for that. It's absolutely beautiful. And I would love to go further into the with the characters and how you navigate them. When I guess what was like the role, and I know you said like they were inspired by parts of your life. How was that journey? Like how were you able to showcase that journey of like from not being aware to feeling like victim of circumstances and have no power to then allowing yourself to like feel that power? Was that in every aspect of all those characters that you experienced it through the dynamics that they were inspired by?
Yes. For example, I was at one point in our life, he was married and I was the five woman
Mm,
because he has every time that we advance,
mhm,
the knowledge and the wisdom that he uncovered was like he has the wisdom inside of him forever because I was watching him that he was okay. He never spoke bad about anyone ever. He was like a really incredible being. And at one point, I was lost. I didn't know how to do it. I was full of sadness or anger. And at one point, when I was seeing him and explained, please tell me how you do that, he didn't know. So when we were studying and learning more and more, he was getting the information like, that's how you call to let go, for example. And because was more like a embedded in him. And for me to see somebody for 22 years to be real, the real deal, for me was okay, this is achievable. You can really change from a glass empty to a glass full because I was trained to be a victim. I was trained to see the glass empty. And of course, and he was, no, life is fantastic. This is a great opportunity. And for me was, no, 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 because we are not, I don't know, whatever example you can say, because I'm not blonde, for example, I have an accent, or
We don't have two homes.
how possible
we haven't
we don't
gone to
have
this vacation, right?
yes, like all these things that society tells you. And at one point, when I begin to experience this transformation and we were writing the book, was really easy to be the women and to be the insecurity and to be in the shoes of my mother and the shoes of my friends and to really remember the suffering that we carry inside of us. But remember, I was already moving myself to become Mary. Because at one point you begin to see that it's achievable, that you can do it. So that's the beauty of the book that we want people to take with them. Is for me, took me 30 years to become and to really let go the past. But probably for somebody else or for you, it's gonna take it less. Depends every person. That's why we cannot compare. This journey can be a journey of all your life or not. An example today, things happen. We have challenge, but you can stay in the pain for 10 years like happened to me, or now it's like a yes, it's painful, but I choose to be in that pain only 1 week. I don't want to do it more because I stay there longer that I was needed. So now I choosing for how long I wanna stay in that sentiment or emotion. So the characters and the evolution of them was really something that we were experiencing. And that's the beauty because we were able to really say, in this letter, what they were living is something that we were living too. So, and the transformation too. That's why when you put this book to practice, can be a course to really transform and do the alchemy of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because it would probably not be well served for the audience, two things. Number one, I'm flawed. So everything she said is that somehow there was always a wisdom behind it. Even when I make the silliest and stupidest mistakes in my life, I'd say like, ah, I can't believe I did that, right? And there was guilt and shame, but there was also the understanding that what I had done was wrong. Okay. So the conscience and awareness was there. I just didn't have the tools at that time to deal with it, but I just knew, and I somehow I would live by wisdom. Like life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react. That was part of my life. In fact, that's how the
Yeah.
book is written. 10% is the drama of the women, and 90% is their journey to get out of their drama.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing that I would say that it would not, that it's important for the audience, this was much greater than us. The moment you connect with that energy, you become inspired and led
Yeah.
by whatever that power is that we've called by 1,000 names,
Yeah.
right? Because we would get up, and one day Rocio gets up, we're having coffee in the kitchen. We knew there was a project in the making, and the book and the TV show, and how is this gonna? And she goes, "Oh, I had a dream last night. The project is about women."
Yeah.
And it
Wow.
was, and
Like
I'm sitting
download.
there,
Yeah.
yes, the
Yeah.
download. And I was there, and as she says this, it was like that wind. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at my life and everything and all the women that have been there to support me throughout my childhood, my professional life, etc. And all I said about 30 seconds in is like, of course it is.
Yeah.
You
It's like
know,
no. It's like a knowing, right?
it's a
Yeah.
knowing. So, and there
Yeah. It's
were,
like
and I'm
goosebumps as
just,
you're saying that. It's like it's yeah.
and Kelly, they've never stopped
Yeah.
since. It just keeps happening now, and we change characters. She would, it's almost like she got the download, and it were my orders to execute.
Yeah.
And right? And it was like she would say, "This is what I'm thinking." And I would say, "Great, now let's do it like this," because of my corporate training and all of
Yeah.
that. And so really became a dance of finding ourselves and really using the
Yeah.
book as our own evolution and the next chapter of our evolution. It wasn't like we were just writing the book that we already had strictly in our mind.
Yeah.
It was the book was becoming alive as we were allowing ourselves to be led by it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful. It's almost like when you say, "Yep, I'll be the channel for whatever wisdom you want to live through me," and then it's like it comes because it knows that you're going to be bringing that wisdom
Yes.
to this realm so that others can
Yes.
experience that and raise that level of consciousness throughout the world. So yeah, it's
Yes.
so powerful.
I
And
get emotional.
yeah.
Yes, because is now that after 2 years, because took us 2 years to write the book and really 2 years to become and to do the transformation and to begin to believe that you can live like this. And now every day that I find myself pointing my attention to the lack in my life, and it's a training. It's a
Mhm.
training that I need to do to, no, no, no. I need to put in all the blessings that I have and the gratitude. And when I continue to do this, is I see what we are living and creating and inspire more people is a blessing. So that's why when you create from abundance, you share the abundance to everyone else, and everyone else can benefit for that information that is for everyone to take.
Yeah. Yes, a ripple effect. Like
Yes.
now see, and then like you help another woman, maybe now her kids are in a better state because of that, and their relationship is better. And it's like all the impacts of everything from just like saying, yes, I'm gonna create this and put it into the world. It's so powerful. One thing I'm really curious about because with any transformation, you have that like awareness stage, and then you have like the life that you want to create, and then there's kind of like that middle space where you're like you're leaving behind like the old life, but you haven't yet created the new life. Can you talk about that journey as far as like your own personal experience? Like, what did that feel like? Because I find that can be so challenging when you're like, I'm doing all this work, I see things differently, but it's not showing in my physical world yet. Do you mind just sharing your experience with that?
The fear, the insecurity, that
Yeah.
you are not sure, that you are breaking the path and the mold, and is so is really I feel afraid.
It shows up in so many different ways. Again, lucky we have each other
Yeah.
because it rarely shows up in both of us at the same time.
Help each other through those.
Yes, right? And it's very important for your listener and your watcher, and your audience. It's not like you reach a platform and all of a sudden you're there and you're untouchable. Please, by no means think that that's our life right now. On the contrary,
Yeah.
what is, it's filled with incredible awareness so that you know when you woke up with a feeling of sadness or fear in your heart. And it feels strange because that's not who you are anymore. But it's there and you have to tend to it. It's like a wound. It's there. And so, for example, when I say I was sexually abused around age 8, 9, or 10, I scan my body to see if there is any odd sensation when I say it.
Yeah.
And I do that because if there is, then there's a part of me somewhere that still needs a little bit of loving, a little bit of caring, a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of whatever the tool is. And so these things show up on a constant basis. And sometimes, yes, we're like, what are we doing? Because we decided that this is what we're doing for the rest of our lives. And we don't know how that's going to take place exactly. But what we are aware of, Kelly, now is we see the miracles as they're happening. Because all of a sudden, when we are afraid, is this working? A phone rings, somebody sends a message through social media and says, your book touched me in a way that nothing has before. And I felt compelled to write to you to let you know I've never written to anybody before, or something like that.
Of the crumbs.
Yes, and they become apparent. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves, and we're not very religious, but we're incredibly spiritual now. And so in a way, I honor every religion because every religion leads you to spirituality. And everybody takes a different path, and that's okay. But when something or someone, when you're in despair, at times we even have a joke, which is not a joke, but it's become kind of the thing that we laugh at now, and is, who's your God? Because if you have like the real God, the one that has no infinite power, then what are you afraid of? And I remember those words that said, it's not that God forgets us, is that we forget it. And all of a sudden, you're the one that feels the disconnect.
Yeah.
So then the question is, how do you connect yourself again to that power source? And so we take different examples and it's just little miracles happen everywhere. Or we see our daughter comes in and she goes, I had this problem with a friend of mine who was in despair. And I told her this, and that. And we're like, oh my God, look at her wisdom as she's sharing it with another 17-year-old. Those are little miracles that I observe, that we observe, that reminds us that we're on the right path, that not everything is going to be clear because frankly, it wasn't clear before. So why would it be clear now? But that when you apply these lessons and these forces of forgiveness, of gratitude, of an acceptance and awareness, then you can continue on a path of intentionality that says, all I'm going to do is take the next solid step in my life. I don't know about a year from now, but today I'm taking this step. And it makes a difference. And it's all of a sudden life feels sound and feels purposeful and feels like you're on the right path, even though not everything is clear.
Yeah. And is very important that you connect with your heart because is what is telling you what is correct for you. So this is this is, if you tell me how you see life now, I see it like a video game. And it's a video game where you go to different levels and you begin to master your own life and you begin to master your own thoughts and how you say it and how you feel about it and how you react. So instead of me really answer to my daughters and in a
Reactively.
reactive, now I think about it and it's like a should I what I want to say to empower her or to scare her. So it's those thoughts that you became more conscious and begin to act in a different way, less in automatic.
Yeah.
So really is, I say, the game of life. And I love that at one point the book can be a guide. It's not the guide, but help you to understand better how you can play this game and win.
Yeah.
Because the only winning is when you are feeling great about yourself.
Yeah.
And the acts can be really small. And it's how you feel successful. And for me, it's very quiet. Is when I'm here in my office and probably I receive an email and it's like a, oh, thank you. And it's that is successful for me. Or how you connect with joy. Well, probably is with my cup of coffee and a little dance that I do, but is those small moments, moment by moment, living in that understanding that doesn't matter anything else is a experience. So of course I don't watch news because they are very tough all the time for the all my life. Every time that I put the news is the same news over and over, and it's like a they make me feel less than. So so all these small things add to how I feel and what I can do. Really, I understand today that I do more for the world, putting myself in a better mood and be more conscious about it and how I talk and how I encourage my friends and how can I have a conversation with an stranger from a place to understanding and love instead of judging.
Yeah. It's so powerful. Yeah. I appreciate you both sharing your honest journey and like just sharing like some of the challenges like that. It's not just like we got to figure it out and nothing is challenging again. Because yeah, the reality of it is like life still happens, but how do you approach it differently? How do you view it differently? How do you integrate things differently? And that's it's so powerful to see that it's like the tools in place and using them and navigating those challenges with more grace and gratitude, which is so powerful. And I love how you share that, you know, with your daughter, but it's like Ed Milet talks about most things are caught, not taught. And it's so powerful that they're going to watch you. And even people that aren't your children, they're going to watch you and see how you're interacting with the world. And they're going to pick things up off of you and they're going to sense your energy. And that's really where that gift is versus saying, like, here, do it this way. And then you end up living your life a different way. That doesn't work. And when you live by example and you embody that, there's so much power to that. And people get to see what life can be like through you. So it's amazing.
I understood exactly what you said recently. And at that moment is when I said, oh, I get it. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
It's not go and change the world.
Yeah.
Is be it because the world is observing you. You're impacting it with energy, with actions, with examples. And it's really profound. When you go deep and you start to understand yourself, you learn a lot of anecdotes and stories of things and they just become real in a
Yeah.
way in which they never have before. So
Yeah.
yes.
it's like reading a book and then you read that book a few years later, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like a totally different book because you're seeing it through a different lens. And that's like life. Like you can have the same experience, but it's going to be feel very different once you are seeing it differently.
Yes.
100%. And that's why we put in the book the spectrum of inner growth
Yeah.
for people to begin to see where they are
Yeah.
and how important is to be curious
Yeah.
of yourself. Is only this is a beautiful exercise for us to live with.
Yeah.
Is what you want to create for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that too because it was almost like a mirror. I'm like, oh, where am I? And I'm like, well, I'm a little bit this some days and I'm a little bit that some days. And it's like you're not in a space. It's like you can see the fluctuations. I'm like, oh, sometimes I'm up there and sometimes I'm down here. And yeah, it's really cool to see that. I love it. It's almost like putting words to some of your experiences internally and being like, okay, it's gonna ebb and flow, but I want to be more up here more often.
Right. It's kind of a
Yeah.
reminder that yes, there are times when I'm in pain, I'm in survival,
Yeah.
but I now, you know what? I love the example of astronauts.
Mhm.
Astronauts are taught all sorts of things they might just need in an emergency in
Mhm.
outer space. They
Yeah.
need to be surgeons, they need to be mechanics, they need to be engineers, et cetera, et cetera. I believe that that's how we are. We have learned to look outward for answers. But the
Yeah.
truth is that if you learn a few tools and you
Mhm.
go inside, you can heal, you can learn, you can evolve, and you can deal with just about anything that's thrown at you, even health. And I know you
Yeah.
spend a lot of time thinking about talking about health.
Mhm.
So much of our health and illnesses
Mhm.
is attached to our emotions. And we say so much because we're still afraid of saying everything
All of it.
is
Right.
attached to that, right?
Yes.
Because the science hasn't yet proven it and so on. But the truth is, that's how I feel today.
Yeah.
Everything that you're seeing reflected in your body, in the way in which you are feeling or not feeling healthy, is directly related to all of these things that we've been talking about. So the moment that you take care of the emotions, of the pain, of the hurt, and sometimes it is yours, sometimes it's generational.
Hmm.
But the moment that you do that, we will start to see a shift in the paradigm of health. And I already observe it. For example, the other day, and I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that people do this, but I had a bit of an ear infection. And I said, do I go to the doctor? Well, they're going to give me antibiotics and they're going to kill every good one too in my body. So I decided to do a fasting. So I did a fast for 5 days in which I said, okay, whatever is ill in my ear is going to be eaten up by these angry cells that are saying, okay, let's shut down, let's go to work because we're in some form of trauma because we're not being fed, which is what happens in the body. But the
Yeah.
moment you have to be informed, you have to read more to learn that all these things are really possible, that you have more control in your life than you have been led to believe, either by your family, your society, your thoughts. And it's important that you become aware of that because in it, there's incredible power.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm totally agree with the health. And we are all like the body is designed to heal itself. It's just that we accumulate all this gunk, and a lot of it is just the emotions, the traumas, the things that we hold on to, and then our body can't
Yeah,
heal. It's almost like blocking the natural healing that's always happening within our
yeah.
body when we have all that. It's so powerful, and I couldn't agree more. And one last thing before we kind of wrap things up. I just wanted for anyone who's listening, they are in the beginning stages of where the characters are in the book. They are thinking like the world's against me, there's no hope, and what am I gonna do? Almost like the Sophia throughout the most of the book. For that person maybe who's listening, they're looking at their external life and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this? I've been like this for the last 30, 40 years. What would be one thing that you could say to them or one little step they could take today that would transform them or get them on the right path to seeing the breadcrumbs of healing?
Number one, get the book,
Mhm.
read the novel to get inspiration.
Mhm.
And really, the most beautiful thing is to love yourself deeply.
Mhm.
And the best way to love yourself is to really little by little to understand that if you didn't did it before was because you didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now, but now you know. And
Right.
it's like a, how you can really love yourself deeply.
Yeah.
So is how you can come back to you.
Mhm. I love that. Beautiful. Absolutely
Thank
beautiful. And
you.
it's like when you know better, do better.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, I think for sure, the way we've written the book, it's so that you go along on a journey and you almost shut down your brain and really, because normally what happens when somebody tells you, oh, let me tell you what you can do, which is what we tend to do,
Right.
is we put our guards up, right? And it's like, oh gosh, here goes another person telling me how
Yep.
to lead my life. And that's not what we wanted to do. What we wanted to do was create a little story that allows you to follow five women along on their journey and learn from them as they're experiencing themselves. And you can either take it as entertainment, but what we have seen is that you begin following these five women, and at the end, there's six because
Mhm.
you were there with them at the same
Yeah.
time.
I love
And
that.
and so if you can pick up a copy of the book and read it and allow yourself that journey. However, if you're in survival mode because you're not in a safe scenario, because you're not healthy, by all means, focus only on that, right? Take care of that first because it's very difficult to take care of the spiritual when the physical is in danger. That's ingrained in us. That's how we're wired. But if you are not in that space, start looking at the little things in your life that really make sense, that you're like, oh, that's nice. Do
Mhm.
more of that, whatever that is. It may be dancing, it may be a walk in the park, it may be a
Walk
new,
with your
it
dog.
may be a pet that brings
Yeah.
you joy. Look for the little joys in your life that have the potential for becoming bigger joys.
Yeah.
And if you can add something like gratitude as a force to that, you can see a door begins to open. Walk through that door
Yeah.
and pay less attention to the other stuff. Rocio mentioned,
Mhm.
stop watching news.
Yes.
The news is like your friend who only sees that pimple in your forehead and all
Exactly.
day is telling you, have you seen it?
So
Oh my
true.
God, it's big. Oh my gosh. And sees nothing else
And
about
it tells
you.
you the pimple's gonna kill you.
Right. And so
Yes.
stop doing the things that bring your energy down
Yeah.
or that take away energy from you and
Mhm.
start doing more of the things that bring you that little smile and that joy. And you'll see how all of a sudden you start to see things differently.
I love that. It's like the door starts cracking open and then you just like open it up. Once you start getting going, you just have to take that first step. That's sometimes the hardest, but the most beautiful because then it leads to
Yeah.
the rest of your journey. So I am so grateful for both of you for everything you shared today. I know it's going to make a profound difference in anyone who listens to this. And again, I highly recommend getting the book. I loved it, truly enjoy it. It was awesome to read it. And there's so many things like, I mean, you could go back and go into those practices again and again and again. So just so grateful. And where can people find you? Where can they find the book?
So the book is available in English and Spanish,
Mhm.
electronically, physically,
Uh-huh.
and in audiobook. The audiobook is incredible and just won
Okay.
an award. You can find it on every major platform. Amazon tends to be one of the most sought after, but Barnes and Noble, Apple, obviously Audible, and basically in every major store where you go, they may not have it on shelf, but you can ask it, you can order it there. But go online and you can find multiple ways to access it.
It's called The Orchid,
Mhm.
The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses.
And to the gentlemen out there, by no means be, subdued by the idea that it's just about women. This is
Mhm.
really about human beings. It's just that for us, we thought that we would start focusing on the feminine, not
Yeah.
just on the women, but on the feminine inside all of us.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna have to have my husband read it too. So
I would love to know.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to get him. Probably the audiobook would be better for him. So I'll have to have him listen to that. So, but I will
Amazing.
definitely put everything in the show notes. So for anyone listening, definitely check out the book, check out everything they have going on, some amazing events I heard coming up. And again, I'm just so grateful for everything you shared today. It's tremendous. And I know it's going to make a big impact. So thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Kelly, it's
Thank you,
been a
Kelly.
pleasure. Thank you for your joy, for your energy.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
profound,
And
and
the
we feel
space.
it out here.
Thank you so much. Same here. And we're on different coasts, and that's the power of energy that you can feel it no matter how far away you are. So, again, thank
Yes.
you for everyone who tuned in. Share this episode with someone who you think could really benefit from it. Thanks again for being here. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If something in this episode stirred your truth, reminded you of your worth, or helped you see your patterns with more compassion, you're already rewiring your life. Remember, you don't have to earn your place, overgive to be valued, or shrink to keep the peace. You get to honor your voice, you get to protect your energy, you get to live aligned with who you really are. If you're ready to go deeper, explore more tools, or join a community of women walking this same path, head over to drkellykessler.com. Everything you need to continue this journey is waiting for you. Until next time, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and keep choosing the version of you who feels like home. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If something in this episode stirred your truth, reminded you of your worth, or helped you see your patterns with more compassion, you're already rewiring your life. Remember, you don't have to earn your place, overgive to be valued, or shrink to keep the peace. You get to honor your voice, you get to protect your energy, you get to live aligned with who you really are. If you're ready to go deeper, explore more tools, or join a community of women walking this same path, head over to drkellykessler.com. Everything you need to continue this journey is waiting for you. Until next time, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and keep choosing the version of you who feels like home.